Joko Anwar, 48-year-old Indonesian film director, producer, actor, and screenwriter, is a horror movies auteur I hold in high regards. It started with 2017's Satan's Slaves. I had always been apprehensive of Indonesian, Malaysian horror movies. Like the scriptwriters had a checklist of folklore and horror tropes they required to strike off. Just take a look at the trailer of an upcoming film, Menjalang Ajal, to see what I mean. I must admit, I likely was unfair to this genre of Asian horror movies, but Mr. Joko took these archetypes but sprouts up with his motives and storytelling style. The family's hidden secrets potted from the village to a high-rise building in the sequel, Satan's Slave Communion from 2022. It was like a horror Goonies adventure trapped in a single location. I was infatuated with it. My radar for Joko's films were triggered, but I realized he had dabbled in movies of other genres like romantic comedies and even superhero flicks. He had also dabbled into the world of television. With HBO Asia, he directed all 8 episodes of the first season of Half-Worlds, a modern horror fantasy I suppose it should be called. His episode in the anthology series Folklore, titled A Mother's Love, was a nifty little feature and also displayed his ability to tell the story that tugged on your heartstrings. More recently, I managed to catch the 2019's Impetigore on Disney+. With the involvement of actress Tara Basro again and the setting, it looked like an extension of Satan's Slaves, yet the plot was much more intricately crafted. By sheer serendipity, Joko's latest film Siksa Kubur or Grave Torture had opened in Singapore, and I might have caught the final showtime in perhaps the only theatre showing it here. The movie started with a cold opening in a bakery where young Sita and Adil were living in less than stellar financial situation, but in bliss with their loving parents. The setting was likely in 1990s, but I was not well versed of the political and societal landscape of that unspecific part of Indonesia. The struggling household met the most heart-wrenching and tragic ending in an instant, as we, the audience, received the first piece of visceral WTF moment from director Joko. The young siblings then went on a road of vendetta, well, at least for our heroine Sita, as we went forward to the modern times. The title of the film, referenced from the Quran, is a Judeo-Islamic concept about the time between death and resurrection on the Day of Judgment. According to some hadiths, the souls of the unrighteous are punished by 2 angels in the grave, while the righteous find the grave peaceful and blessed. Joko Anwar made a 7-minute short of the same name in 2012, and that was an eerie concoction with a young kid stuck in a confined space with a corpse who went through the excruciating concept of punishment. 12 years later, in the full-length feature film version, we have Sita, who played by Faridina Mufti, an attractive actress who kicked ass and reminded me so much of Rosario Dawson, a protagonist who went through living hell and you could not fault her obsession to accomplish a mission. Joko's previous forays into the horror genre had not went head-on to talk about the Islamic faith, sometimes teetering on the borders of the religion, mostly through myth and folklore. In Grave Torture, there was a question of faith. It had been difficult to stay devoted when it had betrayed you for years, to a stage that some people used the name of religion to commit heinous acts. There was a scene in which the Ustad and another teacher from the religious school having a hush-hush conversation of such heinous act that mirrored a scene I had seen in Immaculate, which delved into a totally different religion. There was also the commentary on the proliferation of social media, as well as how mainstream media would mold commentaries to brainwash people's perspectives. Using an industrial-style, unsettling score, Joko kept the audience in a constant uneasiness, like the intensity was constantly cranked up in each segment of the story. The climax, of course, did not disappoint, but it had so many layers to illustrate Joko Anwar's take on Siksa Kubur and whether a recurring haunting in a tunnel could be synonymous with the tussle of faith with Sita, and her action in the end could signify how this conundrum had been resolved. Joko's utility of jump scares were always on point, and his comedic craft was there to be seen as well. I felt that many intensity cranking scenes lingered with the notion to make the audience unsettled, and you knew there was a major scare at the end of each scene. It was awfully effective to me. The one with Adil and the morgue was one that I had to keep myself from being too immersed in without peeing my pants. Joko Anwar's love of nostalgic movie, settings and backdrops once again added to the storytelling, and I love his method of mise-en-scène. He set the stage to make your eyes wander around to see if anything was crucial in the background to make a scare or to tell a story. Grave Torture is one movie to revisit on multiple watches, and it certainly shown maturity in storytelling from Joko Anwar. A distance apart from Satan's Slaves and Impetigore, I could also see homages being paid in two instances to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. I will give this film a 8 upon 10. And if you love his earlier films, or wanted to sample a solid horror movie from Southeast Asia, or even your curiosity is piqued about one that talks about the Islamic faith in this region, do try to catch it when the movie opens in your country, or come to any streaming service. If you like my review, please click a like and subscribe to my channel. More to be rolled out soon. I had also made several reviews for movies like Night Swim, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, in Lights Out Ghost Stories YouTube channel. Do check them out.